Hello guys and girls, welcome to the Be More podcast. This is your host Jack Williams and I am very excited to be back recording this episode after a couple of busy weeks and a very, very busy start to 2022. I hope you guys are having a productive start to the year so far and are chasing down your goals with intensity. So basically today guys, it's a Sunday morning. It's nice and early. I'm about to go to the gym, but I'm going to record the podcast first and then go and train afterwards with my friends. So I wanted to talk today. I'm actually reading a really good book at the moment and I want to make a really good book recommendation. So I know earlier in the podcast towards Christmas I was saying I'm only going to read a few books this year. Well, one of the books I was reading, the author's brought out a new book. So Tim Grover, I'm a really big fan of Tim Grover. So for those who don't know who Tim Grover is, he basically used to be Michael Jordan's basketball coach, trainer, mindset coach, and he'll also work with people like Kobe Bryant, loads of incredible athletes in basketball. And I'm not really a massive basketball fan, but I'm a big fan of those guys and their winning mentality. So when Tim Grover brought out the book Relentless, this is probably 7 or 8 years ago. I only read it maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I absolutely loved it. So I decided that was going to be one of the books that I read this year, as I really want to embody that relentless mentality in what I do. And then I saw Tim Grover brought out the book, Winning, The Unforgiving Race to Greatness. And I really wanted to read it. So basically, I audioed it when he released it last year. I really liked it. So I thought I'm going to buy the actual hard copy and read it this year. So I finished Relentless a week or so ago. And I've been reading Winning properly. So I don't know about you guys, when you listen to audios or maybe even to podcasts, you might get a little bit distracted because you're like, for me, I'm driving or whatever and I'm still focused on the road or whatever, so I might not hear everything. So I thought I'm going to actually read it because I really want to understand what this guy's trying to portray in the book, and I'm getting so much from it. And today I thought, I was reading my 10 pages this morning. I didn't want to stop, but I was like, no, I need to go and record a podcast now. But there's a few things that I really wanted to talk about. But guys, I would really recommend, if you're someone, even if you're not someone with a real burning desire to go and chase a goal right now, even if you're not that, I think just learning and getting inspired by the way these guys were, their mentality, their work ethic towards achieving the things that they did, is so worth a read. Because a lot of people, I know this was the case for me when I was younger, I just thought that the most successful people were the most talented or whatever, when in reality it's never the case. It's more down to these guys were willing to sacrifice more, they were willing to do whatever it takes to be able to achieve the thing that they really wanted. And that's why I'm loving this book so much, because it's real, it's honest, it's raw, and it's the details really in the journey of these superstars, and how they became superstars, and how anyone can, if they're willing, like I said, to adapt a winning mentality and adapt a mindset, that you will be able to read in this book. And it's so interesting. There's so many real good points in this book, and I feel like it's a real good time. It's well timed in my life for me to read this book, because I woke up in 2022 and I just made the decision that this is going to be a massive year for me, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to achieve certain goals that I've got in my mind that I really want to achieve. And by the way, this is something I really wanted to make sure I did in this podcast, is I wanted to say a massive thank you and rest in peace to Bob Proctor. So a lot of you guys who maybe follow my stuff may also follow Bob Proctor. Such an inspirational guy. And I watched The Secret for the first time on Netflix probably about 5 years ago, and it was so good. And ever since then I've listened to some of Bob Proctor's stuff on YouTube, and got a lot of value from it. And then I read a book last year from a guy who's very successful in my industry in a different company, and he mentioned how he literally was mentored by Bob Proctor, and I was like, wow, I'd like to find out more about that. It's a crazy story. So Bob Proctor, I think he's 88 when he passed away just a few days ago. But this time last year, I was looking for some higher level like mentoring, and I saw Bob Proctor has this coaching program, and it's a year long coaching program, guys, right? and it ended. So I paid for a year with Bob. It's all interactive, it's all online, but it was amazing. I got a lot from it, learned a lot from it about the power of the mind, and setting goals and all this different stuff. And by the way, a lot of the stuff that I got from the course, you can get on his courses. Like, it's free stuff on Facebook and on YouTube. So I wouldn't urge you to go and spend lots of money on it. But I just wanted to say thanks to him. And obviously the course ended on the last day in January, and he passed away on, I think, on the first day of February. So it was crazy, really. Just to think the legacy that this guy's life will live on through other people for generations to come, because of the impact he had on other people. And it really took me back. I saw the news online that he'd passed, and it made me think, do you know what? It's my responsibility now to go and share what I learned from Bob onto others. And I feel like that responsibility is in all of us. It's in all of us to really to do our best, to pursue our goals, and to be an example to those who are watching us, our family, our friends, whoever's to come into the world in the future, our children to come. Like, it's our responsibility and it's our duty to go and fulfill our goals, to go and embrace the journey, because that's where all the learning is, and then we can teach that to other people. So yeah, and this is what I mean by Bob Proctor and Tim Grover and these athletes who are sharing openly what it takes in the journey. Another thing that I would urge you guys to watch is The Last Dance on Netflix. And you can see first of all Tim Grover in it. He talks about how he worked with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But this is what I do, guys, by the way. I immerse myself in the environment around these types of people. And I don't know any of them, by the way. Don't know any of them, never met any of them. But I feel like I know them because I study their being and what they do and what they share, and their books and their audios and their podcasts and whatever I can get my hands on. And I would urge you guys to do the same, because at the moment, most of the society, most people are constantly bombarded and listening to a lot of the stuff that is portrayed in the media that is quite negative. It could be what's happening with the latest bloody coronavirus, or it could be what's happening with the gas prices. Like, who gives a shit, right? Go and focus on this stuff that can feed your mind and inspire you to go and live your best life, rather than live in fear, which is what most people are doing, because they're constantly listening to these messages that are fed to us. Whereas my advice would be switch off them messages as best as you can, and just focus on inspiring yourself and getting around messages like the books of Tim Grover, like the guys. Like, I'm such a massive fan of books, and you guys know this, and getting around the right people. But you think, like, I'm 29 now. I'm 30 next month, which is mental to think. But I can sit and read in 1 week a book of someone who's lived a 50 year career, and I can read all the lessons in that career to then condense all of that into something, how I can reposition myself and my direction to how I go and attack my life. That's how I see books. I don't see them as a £10 book or whatever. I see them as there's all that guys learning and lessons, or girls learning and lessons in their life, condensed into 250 pages that I can absorb to then make me more hungry, to understand more about the journey, just so many different things. So yeah, I've just spent 9 minutes or so talking about this book and any book. But guys, just be hungry for learning. School doesn't teach you much, so don't have this mentality of, oh, I'm done learning now, I've finished school. That we just start to learn when we leave school. That's my opinion. So anyway, back to what I was going to read. So here's what I wanted to talk about today. It's only going to be short, guys, and I've got to get off to the gym and see my friend. But so here we go. This is what I wanted to ask you guys. Is it easier to climb a mountain with a weighted vest and a full pack, or with just the essentials? And I think you'll know the answer to this, right? So instead of giving yourself more to do, start getting rid of everything that's dragging you down, everything you're doing to meet other people's expectations and demands. Those things have to go. Handle that, and you'll already have more time for the meaningful, important elements in your life. So what today I wanted to talk about is just going to be short and simple, and it will sound simple, but it's the doing of it that's sometimes really challenging. It's learning the power of no, and learning what to eliminate or remove or manage in your time for you to be able to go and do the things. And like my great mentor Jim Rohn taught me, is to major in the major things. Don't major in the minor things, and don't be busy, because a lot of people are busy right now but achieving what they're doing figure eights. Whereas this passage in the book is trying to help you to understand, let's use the top of the mountain as your goal, right? Will it be easier for you to get there carrying a really heavy pack with all of your problems, all of the people who are around you or their problems, whereas you can just remove that and really just go about life with the essentials of what you need? And this is why it comes down to really understanding and taking the time to think about, what do you really want? Because when you know what you want, you can kind of be like, right, this is what Tim Grover says. He's got an id-gaff muscle. And I find this hilarious, right? But he calls it an id-gaff muscle, and he tells his clients, like the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants, they're like, right, this is what I want to achieve. And he's like, right, we're going to have to develop your id-gaff muscle. And they're like, what's an id-gaff muscle? And he's like, I don't give a fuck muscle, right? And he goes, the first few times you use your id-gaff muscle, it may feel weak and sore and easily fatigued. Like, imagine trying to say no to something that you don't really want to go and do, but you feel like you have to go and do it. Who knows what I'm talking about when I'm saying this, right? I know all of you listening will understand what I'm saying. But really, it's these things that you want to start to try and eliminate, so you can then use more of your time. This is what Tim was saying to the MJ and to Kobe. He was like, you need to really invest your time into this aspect of your training, this aspect of your recovery, this aspect of this, and this, to be able to go and get another ring, to go and be able to win another championship. Whereas if you keep doing other things to please other people, you're going to be so tired that you're not going to have the time to really invest in what it takes to go and win another championship. And it's the same for you and your goals, right? So this is what he says, but when you use it regularly and train it appropriately, the id-gaff muscle, right, it becomes strong, fast and responsive, and that elevates your ability to separate the things and people you need to move away from. And you notice it's not just people, it's things as well. It could be watching Netflix. It could be playing PlayStation games. Like, is playing the PlayStation going to really help you to fulfill your potential? Is it going to really help you to achieve that real thing that you really want to achieve? And what I find is most people who spend so much time playing the games like this and becoming like an extra in their own life, they're just playing games all the time. These are people that don't have a desire, they don't have a want, they don't have anything that they really want. Because when you have something that you really want that's a clear goal, most things that you do outside of that, you actually get a feeling in your body, like it's your intuition being like, this probably isn't what you should be doing. And this is what I found in my case. When I really started to build my network marketing business, everything outside of that, I felt off doing it. There was things that I didn't really like when I was still working in the gym, when I was just building part-time in network marketing. I remember my Herbalife business was building, but I would still be working quite a lot in the gym, and I'll be like, I should be putting my time into my business, because that became my burning obsession. That became my goal, what I really wanted to achieve. So as soon as I had the financial means to do so, I removed that, even though it was paying me quite good money. And it was what most people would say, you should keep doing that because it's going to cover your bills and it's going to keep money coming in. I believed in my mission. I knew that I believed in myself. If I could put just more time into it, I could get the ball rolling faster. And it was about flexing my id-gaff muscle, because I'd have people sharing their opinion with me saying, no, you're making a mistake. The bubble's going to burst. You need to keep that, you need to keep that job. You need to keep that income stream coming in or whatever. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck about what that person thinks. I know what I need to do for me. This is my life. I'm only going to get one. I'm going to go and do this. And I'd rather die trying or fail trying than think what if for my whole life. So reading this book really helped me to resonate with some different parts of my journey, and still things that I do to this day. There's still things that I'm always saying no to, because I don't want to take on more commitments, because I really want to focus on the things that are most important to me, and that's the goals that I have. So I really want to encourage you guys to think, what do I really want? And then what things do I, well, you won't even have to think what things you have to eliminate. You'll just know, because you'll the way you'll feel when you're doing those things, you'll be like, this isn't where I should be right now. And then it's learning and developing the id-gaff muscle to be able to say no for the right reasons, by the way. And don't be mean doing this. That's not what I'm trying to say. And that's what I'm saying. probably read the book to try and understand how Tim portrays it, but you're doing this for those people, for the right reasons. So this is what he says: stop spending time you don't have on people you don't like, doing things you don't want to do. What do you want? More time to work, more focus on your goals, more time in your relationship, more time to yourself. Figure it out and make a decision, otherwise you won't be happy in anything. And when you do make that decision, stop apologising for it. If you need to acknowledge the difficulty of the choice you made, do it once. After that, every apology you make weakens your confidence and belief that you made the right choice. If you truly do DGAF, do give a fuck, then don't. Yeah, so good. So much value in this book, guys. I'm really loving it. I'm only about halfway through. But like I said, at first it's weak, and at first saying no, and at first making these decisions can be difficult. But just trust your intuition, trust yourself, and make space in your life for the things that you want, for you to really go after those things. This is something that I learned from Bob Proctor, and it's something that you can apply to anything in your life. Bob was literally teaching us on a Zoom call, and he was saying that his sister one time, he went round his sister's house, and he understands how you've got to make space for the things that you want in your life. And basically he went to his sister's house. It might have been his cousins, but one of the two. And he's like, oh, how you doing? Oh, the house is looking nice. And they're like, oh, no, I don't like my curtains. And Bob was like, right, so why don't you get some new curtains? He's like, oh, no, we don't need them. These ones are fine for now. And he was like, but if you really don't like them and they're making you unhappy, why don't you just get rid of them? And she was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, if you get rid of them, you'll make space, because then you'll have to go and get new ones. Whereas all the time they're there, you can't get new ones, right? I guess you could go and get them, but they wasn't. Whereas she was like, do you know what? I've had it. So she took them down, and they had no curtains for a few days or so. And then her and her husband was like, we can't live our lives like this. We need to go get some new curtains. And it's just a way of saying like this, that you can use that principle in anything of your life. So it might be that you've got this commitment that means you've got to spend 3 hours on a day doing something that you don't really want to be doing, you don't need to have in your life. But as soon as you stop doing that, you take the curtains down, you take the 3 hours away, and you then have free time in that time, what will you do? Well, the natural thing to do will be to do things that are productive towards your goals. So it's just making time, it's just making space for you to really get after and attack the things that you want. And it's learning the art of saying no. And there's loads of different books, by the way, that I've really got value from. Like The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck is really good as well. And basically it's developing that muscle where you don't really give a shit about what other people think of your goals. They're your goals. They're what you want. So you should do whatever you want, because you're only here once. As we were reminded the other day when we lost Bob, that you've got, and his mentality, by the way, was live full and die empty. So go and live your life to the fullest, and eliminate the things in your life, or at least have a plan that aren't really helping you to live full. And if there's other things that you really want to be doing to express yourself, to express your being, to help other people, to inspire others, or just because you really want to do it, then make space for that. Make sure you go and get after that and attack it hard. Because, we're only here once, and my mentality is to do 10x more actions than what the average person will do to be able to achieve the goals that you have in your life. So, guys, I hope you got a bit of value from this. This was a bit all over the place today. But the message behind the podcast would be, it's okay for others not to agree with what you're doing. All that matters is if you agree with it, if it's something that you really want. So find the time, find the space, attack it with everything that you've got. And just the best bit of advice I would give you, and anyone listening to this, would be just wake up every day, because you can really paralyze yourself and confuse yourself when you listen to too much stuff. It would just be to, when you wake up today, just do your best. Do your best in what you're doing, in your journey, whether it be to lose weight, whether it be to gain muscle, whether it be to build a business, whether it be to improve your relationships. Give it your best. Give it your best. And then tomorrow, do it again. And then the next day, just do it again. And then the more days you string of you doing your best in that time, you'll start to make progress. You'll start to collect what we call the compound effect will start working for you. You're collecting these days of you doing your best, showing up, over and over and over again. One of the great things I've learned from Grant Cardone, another guy who's really influenced me in my life, is the number one key in success is showing up. So when you wake up today, show up, do your best, go to bed knowing that you really poured it on. Tomorrow, do the same again, and make the space for you to attack the things that you want, regardless of what other people think. Get after it, go again, get after it, go again. And through time, your example will start to inspire others. Your example will start to, maybe the people who didn't believe in first will start to believe because of what you're doing and what your steps are saying, not just what your mouth and lips are saying. It's what you're doing, it's your activity, it's your results that you're getting from the work that will then start to influence the people who once had an opinion thinking, oh, that isn't the right thing, to go, maybe they were right back in themselves. Guys, like, think of all the greatest successful people of all time. I read this the other day. I think it was Steve Jobs or someone like that. When he first started, they were like, no, you shouldn't do that. Or even the guy who built Starbucks, Howard Schultz, they were like, you're never going to be able to sell coffee for $3 in America. No one will pay that, or $4 or whatever. Whereas look at the guy now. If he'd listened to an opinion of those people, he would never be where he is. Whereas he was like, he developed his id-gaff muscle. He was like, shut up, I'm going to go and do this anyway. And then you'll be trying to hire, or you'll be trying to work for me at some point. That just serious blind faith and belief is what I want to excite you guys about in your own journey. So get after it, guys. I hope you got value from this. If you did, I would really appreciate and be super grateful if you can share it on your socials, on your Instagram stories or wherever, and tag me in it. I always appreciate it when you guys do that. If you haven't already, please leave me a review on this podcast. Have an amazing day. Have an amazing week. Have an amazing month. Get after it. Let's go.